It's that time of year where it's financial planners and accountants are excited about waking up the next day about the budget and working out how it's going to affect our clients and us as an organisation and what we need to do. So here we're to give you our view and update of what it means to you and what it means to us. I'm Michael Williams, I'm the Managing Director of the Hopkins Group, and I'm here with Shane Light, our Head of Advice and Financial Planning. And we're here to chat about our pre-retirees, wealth builders. How does the budget affect you? I can summarise it, not much. Boring, blasé, lost opportunity, must be an election coming up. It's probably more about what didn't happen and about the forward-looking aspects of the economy that are most interesting. But the budget itself, it's probably the quietest, most unassuming budget I've seen in the last 10 years, which is probably a bit of relief. No massive changes. What do you think, Shane?
No, same thing. There's a lot of obviously spending on infrastructure, but yeah, quietest in superannuation land for many years, which is excellent. Didn't touch housing at all, so everything's the status quo. But what do you see as the budget takeouts or the key proposals?
I see for once two completely different political parties with views. Labor has proposed higher taxing in certain areas. In areas I think they can get away with that won't cause them political damage, removing negative gearing to a certain degree, keeping the higher tax rates on high income earners, fiddling with a number of different spots. So there's going to be definitely a higher spending budget and a higher spending budget proposal leading into an election. Whereas Liberals have tried to give a little bit to everybody and to promote themselves as being fiscally responsible and trying to return money. But overall, there's just not a lot of changes, which is, I think, a good and a relief, because it means that depending on who you think is going to get in, you can plan your life accordingly with a little bit more certainty, knowing that the economy is just doing better.
Well, that's it. I think, in respect to the economy, super, taxes, I guess one change that's really going to be exciting is self-managed super funds. So, we do a lot in the self-managed super fund space. How do you see that being a positive for our clients?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of things. One, you can now have 6 members in a self-managed super fund rather than 4. So now, if you've got 3 children, you don't have to choose the one you don't love to keep out of the fund. The removal of exit fees, which affect our older clients. I've seen many a client over the years that dealt with AMP, MLC, Commonwealth Bank advisors 20 or 30 years ago, and were put into high commission products with massive exit fees, which would restrict their ability to consolidate their funds and manage their funds appropriately. If those exit fees are now banned, it means we can actually move money and do the right thing by clients and consolidate. Super funds will be cheaper over the long term because of a reduction still in fees and the forcing of reduction in fees, and in things like self-managed super funds, not having to do an audit every year will make funds cheaper over the long term and more cost competitive. So I think there's some benefits there. There's also some benefits leading into retirement where the loan mortgage pension benefit scheme means that people that start to run out a little bit of money can actually access government affected loans. But I think the safest thing for our wealth builders and pre-retirees is the fact that there's been no changes to superannuation that are in the negative, no changes to negative gearing that are in the negative, no changes to capital gains tax benefits and those things that would affect them with the strategies that we've set up.
What about, you say no negatives, but now they're, removing that insurance within certain funds, especially for those people under age 25. So your wealth builders, now once they exceed 25, if they haven't engaged with their super fund, they potentially may have debt, they may have purchased a family home.
Definitely, it's time to review it. For a lot of our clients, even under 25, it's appropriate to have insurance. You may not be looking at life insurance unless you've got a mortgage and kids, but definitely income protection, total permanent disability, looking after yourself, I think is important. And for all our clients, reviewing insurance on a regular basis to see if you're underinsured, but then at some point in time you're overinsured. So when can we actually start to cancel insurance and pare things back because we've created an asset position where you're safe enough now to be able to reduce those potential liabilities or factors happening.
Yeah. So do you feel there's any other strategies or basically where to from here? Like what actions should our clients be taking, or should we at least be getting out there and talking to our clients about?
Well, there's going to be more money in people's pockets. There is tax cuts coming through. They're not a lot, but with like anything, every time we get a tax cut or benefit, if we can put a little bit more aside, you're going to be better off for the long term. But I think the takeaways are the economy's doing well. If there's tax cuts and money return this year, there'll be tax cuts and money return next year because we're on the start of an upward trend and not on the downward side. So I think we can take away that the economy's looking better, and if you've been holding back from doing something, don't.
Yeah.
Do it now because A, the economy's looking better, but B, also, whilst Labor has proposed changes that might affect some people's strategy negatively, they have specifically said in their proposal on the Labor website that anyone that actions things now will be grandfathered and they won't retrospectively apply it. So there is a window of opportunity that the election is coming, and if Labor were to win, there might be changes in people's long-term strategies, but if you put that strategy in place now, they won't be able to take away from it. So I think it's time to sit with your advisor and work out what you're doing.
That's it, and there's still, I guess, a couple of strategies from a rollover from last year, which start on the 1st of July 2018. So with the first home savers account with superannuation, I mean, we can't forget those.
Definitely, that's it again. They haven't taken anything away. They haven't improved it, and I don't think it's had the take-up that it should have, but as it becomes more mainstream, hopefully they will. There's a limit. It's not going to help you buy... It's not going to enable you to completely buy a place in Melbourne, but it's going to get you a couple of steps forward to it. So if you haven't checked out how it works, you can sit with your advisor. I think it's well worth looking at.
Downsizes, again, legislation coming through, and that's going to be in full swing as well.
It is. So downsizes, give the opportunity to put a little bit more money back into super. Those rules stay. With this reverse mortgage that the government effectively allows for older people, maybe that will slow down older people having to sell their homes to release cash to be able to survive. So again, that might hold the available stock of property in the market a little bit lower. So that might still drive prices a little bit higher. So we'll wait to see on that. I would have liked more action around helping first home buyers get into the market. I would have liked more action about making some wholesale changes over the longer term, but we haven't seen that. I think it's a very safe, boring, blasé budget, which means steady as she goes and take advantage of the opportunities that pop up and talk to your advisor sooner rather than later.
That's it. And for those self-employed, we've still got the instant tax write-off.
Definitely. That'll probably remain forever because I think it's good policy and good measure. Yeah. Doesn't mean go out and buy a car or a laptop tomorrow. Do it if you need it, but if you do it, and there's an opportunity to instantly write that off.
Well, I think leading into the 30th of June, it's all about contribution season, so your concessional, deductibles, non-concessional, so it's time to maximise and sit down with your planner.
Definitely. The changes they announced last year simplified that quite a lot more. So it's a matter of sitting with your advisor and seeing where we can take advantage of it. We no longer have to differentiate between a self-employed person and an employee, and we can make contributions at any time without having to go through salary sacrifice or your employer. So it makes life easier, so you haven't lost that opportunity if you haven't acted, but we've got until 30th of June to take advantage of it for this year.
That's it. So closing, next stages. What do we do from here?
Call your advisor, catch up sooner rather than later. We look forward to seeing you in the office and can't wait to have a chat to you about your situation in more detail.
Thank you.